Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth unto those things which are before. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. Now the writer says here, I have not apprehended. I don't know about you, but I've felt that way a lot of times in my life. I have not apprehended. And I can tell you one thing right now, that if Paul hadn't apprehended, I guarantee you I haven't apprehended. I want you to understand here that though we haven't apprehended, a lot of times what happens is people give up. Though we haven't apprehended doesn't give us an excuse not to try. All right, Paul says here, I haven't apprehended. And he says, but I'm going to forget those things which are behind. They're past failures, times whenever I failed, times whenever I messed up. But you know what? I'm going to forget those things which are behind. I want you to understand here today that there are no do-overs, but there is a start-over. All right? That you can't reach for a do-over button and hit it and do something over, but there is a start-over button in this thing where if you've made past mistakes, you've done things wrong, you can start from right now and go on and be who God intended you to be. All right? So he says, I have not apprehended, but I'm going to forget who I was. I'm going to forget those things which are behind. And then I'm going to reach forth to those things which are before. It's about your next step. All right? God's not so much worried about your past or maybe even where you're at right now spiritually, but I want to ask you, what about your next step? Where are you going? What's your future look like? And I can tell you that he said, I haven't apprehended, but this one thing I do. All right? Forgetting those things which are behind, reaching forth those things which are before. I press toward the mark. First of all, I want you to understand that you have to do it. Nobody can do it for you. This is your decision. I press. Nobody can make the decision for Jerid Davis but Jerid Davis. I press. It's your decision here today. What are you going to do? First, and then it's I press. So number one, it's personal. Number two is this perspiration. You're going to have to sweat some. All right, I press. This is something that I have to do. I'm doing everything that I possibly can. It takes effort, and I'm putting all that I can into it. Then I press toward. Make progress. Don't be satisfied with anything less than going forward.